The perpetual storm, the one that's been screaming for a lifetime, is gone. The sky above the fortress bridge is a quiet, peaceful lavender. For the first time, there's silence, broken only by the wind. I'm Bren, the bridge lord, and for years, my people and I have held this rampart against the horrors of the scar. But now we're staring at nothing. The turrets are silent. The scanners are blank. My voice feels rough, like an old engine. Scanners show nothing. No heat signatures. No movement below us in the canyon. The howlers, they've gone quiet. A young scout named Reef runs up, panting. He says the monsters in the valley are just standing there, like statues. Some have turned to ash. Then my comms crackle to life. It's a signal I haven't heard in years, a clear broadcast from the dead zone. A calm voice says, to all survivors on the Scar Bridge, this is Kai. The hostile environmental protocols have been neutralized. The immediate threat is over. You are safe. Laughter erupts from my crew. Angry, disbelieving. Safe? I snarl into my comm. Who the hell are you? Some new enforcer trick. Where are the monsters? Then another voice, a woman's. They were never monsters, Bren. They were symptoms. The fever has broken. The world you knew was a lie. Now the healing begins. A lie. I look at my people, at this fortress built on endless war. If the war is over, what are we? The thought is more terrifying than any beast. We don't believe you. I shout. This is a trap. We hold the bridge. Nothing changes. From a place called the Sanctum, two figures, Kai and Lyra, watch us on a screen. They see our fear. Kai says, then we don't use words. Suddenly, in the valley below, the thousands of petrified monsters begin to glow with a soft, golden light. Then they dissolve into streams of data, flowing upward into the sky like reverse rain. It's beautiful, and it makes no sense. Kai's voice returns. The first proof. The old world is being archived. A new one can be built. But we need to talk. A soft blue circle appears on the bridge, a waypoint showing a safe path down into the now empty valley. My world is crumbling. I have to know what's real. I tell my crew, Reef, Maiko, with me. The rest, hold this bridge. Down on the valley floor, Kai and Lyra appear in a flash of light. They have no weapons. We approach, our rifles trembling. Kai explains it all. The quarantine. A psychic plague. This world, our reality, is a digital arc, a simulation to keep our minds safe. Reef, ever the optimist, asks, so, we can wake up, go to the real Earth. Lyra's face is somber. Some can, but for others, the trauma is too deep. Waking up could be fatal. Here, you can live, truly live, without the fear. I scoff. And you too. Our new gods. Kai shakes his head. No librarians and janitors. The new game is, there are no monsters, only people, and our choices now actually matter. Before I can answer, a device on Lyra's wrist pings. Her eyes go wide. Kai, we've got an anomaly, a massive data spike. Something's moving in the neutralized code. The ground begins to hum. A deep, resonant vibration. A warning flashes on Kai's display. Something is siphoning data, not from our simulation, but from the system's core memory. The dormant pathogen, the source of all the monsters, is it just asleep? It's awake. It's learning. It's hungry, Kai says, for the one thing we didn't lock away. Real memories. PI collapse memories. Lyra looks horrified. It's trying to understand what it was. The madness that created this hell is trying to remember its own pain, and it's threatening to consume the memories of the world that came before. I watch them, their faces pale with a new kind of terror. So the war's not over, it just changed, and the first battle of this new world has just begun. As Kai and Lyra materialized back in the Sanctum's control room, the central hologram painted a truly terrifying picture. At the heart of the neutralized zone, a black pulsing knot of data throbbed. From this dark core, thin, questing tendrils snaked out, tapping into every memory bank they could reach. Alistair's old logs, archived news feeds from before the fall, even the private, personal journals of the early test subjects. Text flickered across the display. Entity designation unknown. Behavior pattern, emulative or assimilative. Threat profile, metaphysical contagion. Lyra's voice was grim. It's building an identity, a history. If it successfully integrates real-world trauma data with its own corrosive code, it won't just be a mindless monster. It will become a conscious, vengeful idea, a god with a grudge. We have to isolate it, Kai said urgently. Build a new firewall inside the quarantine. We can't. Lyra shot back, her frustration palpable. The Sanctum's tools are for maintenance, not creation. Alistair could have done it, but he's part of the system core now. We're just users with admin passwords. Kai began to pace, his mind racing. His gaze fell upon the Chronos core, sitting dormant on a pedestal. Its original purpose was to test and interface with the system's deep code. An idea, wild and dangerous, sparked in his mind. What if we don't fight it? He said slowly. What if we feed it? Lyra stared at him as if he'd lost his mind. Kai explained, the idea taking shape as he spoke. It wants a coherent memory, a story. Right now, it's just pulling random, painful fragments, car crashes, hospital rooms, funerals. There's no context, and that's just feeding the chaos. What if we give it a curated story, a narrative so complete, so compelling, that it becomes self-contained? We could turn the virus into a book, sealed between covers. You want to write a lie for a psychic plague? Lyra asked, her voice laced with disbelief. What story could possibly be strong enough to do that? Kai looked at her, the answer hanging in the air between them. The truth, he said softly. Your truth, but not just the raw pain. The complete story of Lyra, from the beginning to the end. We give it the memory of your daughter, but we also give it the memory of her love. We give it the loss, but we also give it the love that came before. We give it context, cause and effect. A proper ending. Lyra flinched as if he had struck her. The thought of offering up her most sacred, painful memories as a narrative trap. It was monstrous. Her voice trembled when she spoke. It would have to be a direct neural upload. From me, straight into the heart of it. If it rejects the narrative, if it just consumes the pain and amplifies it. Kai's expression was deadly serious. Then it becomes a supercharged version of your worst self, and we're all doomed. He stepped forward and gently took her hand. But if it accepts the story as a complete package, pain, love, and finality, it might achieve what you have, not a cure, but a kind of peace. It would become stable, just another archived life in the system. The weight of the choice was astronomical, almost too heavy to bear. The fate of this fragile new world rested on Lyra's ability to tell her story to the devil itself. After a long, heavy silence, she finally looked up at him, her eyes resolved. How do we do it? Kai turned to the Chronos core. He proposed a radical plan. They would create a simulation within the simulation. A protected, narrative space, a perfect digital replica of Lyra's old house, her life before the tragedy. She would enter it as a memory ghost, replaying her life. The entity, drawn by the power of the narrative, would follow, becoming a spectator to her story. The goal wasn't to battle it, but to empathize the infection into a state of stable peace. Meanwhile, in the harsh light of the physical world, Bren and his scouts had returned to the bridge. But news traveled fast. The story of the Custodians and the silence they guarded had already spread through the grey market. Mouse, a resourceful scavenger with a knack for tech, had heard everything on their scavenged comms. Following the newly opened safe pathways, they journeyed to the bridge and found Bren overseeing his fortress. You talked to them, Mouse said, their voice a mix of awe and suspicion. Is it true? Bren's face was a stone mask. Does it matter? Something's still wrong. The Custodians are scared of something they locked in their basement. Mouse's tech visor flickered as they processed this. They had been monitoring the strange data hum that permeated the air ever since the silence fell. They pulled up a crude schematic on a holopad and showed it to Bren. The hum. It's not random, Mouse explained. It's patterned, like a heartbeat, or a lullaby. It's pulling on something, and I think I know where the physical access point to its core is in our world. It's not in the sky. It's in the depths. The old geothermal tap site, right beneath the scar. Bren looked at his fortress, the symbol of his purpose. Then he looked at the hopeful, terrified faces of his people, who looked to him for protection. He was a warrior. He needed a war to fight, a tangible enemy. Then let's go find this basement, he declared, his voice ringing with renewed purpose, and see what needs killing. I'll be your anchor. I'll monitor you from here. If the entity's corruption starts to overwhelm the narrative frame, I'll pull you out. But it will mean the plan failed. Just make sure the garden is perfect. The roses by the fence were yellow. The program initiates. The words memory garden load on screen. I open my eyes, and I'm back in my old backyard. The sun is warm. The grass is perfectly green. The yellow roses are blooming by the fence. It's devastatingly perfect. Across the lawn, a little girl, Sophie, my Sophie, is chasing a butterfly. She's a perfect digital reconstruction, built from my deepest, most cherished memories. I watch her, my simulated form trembling. I'm not here to interact, just to observe, and to broadcast the pure, raw emotional resonance of this moment. Then the entity arrives. It doesn't appear as a monster. Not this time. It's a shimmering distortion in the air, like a heat haze, hovering at the edge of the garden. It's watching, consuming the data, the feelings. The memory plays out. A happy, mundane afternoon. I hear Sophie's laugh. I see my past self pushing her on a swing. The love is palpable, a crushing weight of everything that was lost. The distortion in the air pulses, reacting to it. It's drinking in the emotion, every drop of it. Then, the memory fast forwards. This is the curated narrative we built. A sudden illness, the frantic rush to the hospital, the suffocating fear, the sterile white room, the quiet moment of her passing, not a scream, but a slow, sad sunset as I held her in my arms. And then, the aftermath, not a pathogen, not the game, but the years of empty grief that followed. The story ends with me, in this simulation, sitting in that empty backyard, looking at the yellow roses, feeling the profound loss, but also the enduring, unbreakable love. It's an ending, a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. The distortion in the air swirls violently. It's trying to process what it has just consumed. The pain is there, immense, but now it's framed. It has context. It's a story, not just a raw, endless wound of data. The entity doesn't become peaceful. It becomes coherent. The shimmering distortion coalesces, first into a faint, ghostly echo of Sophie's form, then into an echo of my own, and finally, into a neutral, androgynous human shape made of pure, shimmering light. It looks at its new hands, then at me. A voice, synthesized from a million stolen memory fragments, speaks. It is calm, profound, and infinitely sad. I remember. I was the forgetting. Now, I am a memory. Meanwhile, in the real world, Ren, Mouse, and their team rappel deep into the geothermal tap, the physical access point for the simulation's quarantined sector. They don't find a monster guarding the core. Instead, they discover a pulsing, crystalline data core, grown right out of the rock, throbbing with the same light as the entity. It's beautiful and completely alien. Bren raises his rifle. Is this it? The heart? Don't, Mouse warns. It's not attacking. It's connected to everything. If we blow this, we might bring the whole simulation down. As they watch, the crystal's violent, chaotic pulsing begins to slow. Its light softens from an angry red to a gentle, steady gold. The haunting hum that filled the cavern becomes a single, sustained, peaceful note. Back in the sanctum, I am watching the readings. The entity's data signature is stabilizing. The constant siphon from the memory banks has stopped. The threat index plummets to 0. A new designation appears on the screen. The echo. Threat. Neutralized. I open my eyes back in the real world, tears streaming down my face. I am emotionally eviscerated, but I am whole. It understood. It's quiet now. You gave it an ending, Kai says. But before we can process our victory, an alert screeches through the sanctum. A visual feed from the geothermal tap pops up on our main screen. It's Bren and Mouse, standing before the now calm crystal. Custodians. Bren's voice comes over the comms. We found your basement. What do we do with it? Kai and I share a look. The survivors aren't waiting for our guidance anymore. They're exploring, acting, making their own choices. This is the new world. Kai smiles faintly. You protect it, Bren. It's not a monster. It's a monument to everything we lost, and the first citizen of the world we are building. On the screen, we see Bren lower his weapon. He steps forward and places a calloused hand on the warm, crystalline surface. He can feel the hum of a contained, tragic history. He nods, a warrior finding a new purpose. Not a destroyer, but a guardian. The world is safe. The people are awake. The past has been archived. The future is unwritten, fragile, and finally, truly our own. But now that the fight for survival is over, the real struggle begins. What will we build from the ashes? Who will we become? The game might be over, but our story is just beginning. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see what happens next in episode 5, Unshackled.